Shalom. This week's Sedra is Sedra Behaloscha. In a landmark book, a friend that I admire suggested to me, Eckhart Tolle wrote, "In the Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment, see if you can catch yourself complaining in either speech or thought about a situation you find yourself in. What other people do or say, your surroundings, your life situation, even the weather. To complain is always non-acceptance of what is. It invariably carries an unconscious negative charge. When you complain, you make yourself into a victim. When you speak out, you are in your power. So change the situation by taking action, or by speaking out if necessary or possible. Leave the situation or accept it. All else is madness." Complaining isn't a productive expenditure of our time. This week's Torah portion tells the story of the Jewish people complaining. Their complaining was not taken well by Hashem. In Hashem's own words, we read, the people took to complaining bitterly before Hashem. Hashem heard and was incensed. A fire of Hashem broke out against them, ravaging the outskirts of the camp. Torah scholars debated what led to the Jewish people's complaints. In his commentary to the word complaining, right, you have a whole commentary on the word complaining, Rashi wrote that complaining demonstrated the people were seeking a pretext of how to separate themselves from following God. It was an excuse. Rashi brought up other examples in Tanakh where the Jewish people's complaints weren't responses to actual problems, but rather excuses to stop observing the Torah and the mitzvot. Any parent or teacher can tell you that when a child complains, the complaint is usually a cover-up to try to get out of one of their responsibilities. Rashi attributes the same phenomena to the Jewish people. Now, on the other hand, the Ibn Ezra took a different approach from Rashi. He said the word complaining and wickedness share the same root, ayin. The Ibn Ezra's approach speaks of the complaining as actual wickedness. When people complain to someone who has helped them, it is usually taken as a lack of gratitude. While not expressing gratitude is rude, when the lack of gratitude is shown to someone who is deserving of honor, like a parent, a rabbi, teacher, and especially God, it is wickedness. Now, Ramban disagreed with the Ibn Ezra, and he wrote that if complaining was actual sin, as the Ibn Ezra wrote, then the Torah would have said the Jewish people sinned when they complained, and it didn't. Rather, Ramban wrote that as they got further away from Har Sinai, which was near an inhabitable settlement, right? That's where people lived, and then they entered the large desert in their first journey, they became upset and said, "What shall we do? How shall we live in this wilderness? What shall we eat, and what shall we drink? How shall we endure the trouble and the suffering? And when shall we come out of here?" Complaining in our Torah portion is an expression indicating pain and feeling sorry for oneself. When the Torah lists that they felt anxious and upset, it has already mentioned and told the nature of their sin. They spoke in bitterness of their soul, as do people who suffer pain. And this was evil in God's view, since they should have followed God with joy. Now, Rashi, Ibn Ezra, and Ramban wrote three different explanations of what caused the Jewish people to complain. More than just a perspective on history, these three explanations teach what is really happening when someone complains. Instead of just seeing an unhappy person, the person could be trying an excuse to get out of a responsibility, as Rashi said. It could be a lack of gratitude, as the Ibn Ezra said, or an expression of pain, as Ramban said. If we address the root cause of the complaint, we'll be able to better stop the complaints and return to a more productive life. What a powerful, powerful lesson. Shabbat Shalom.